All right. Thanks, everybody, for attending today. I'm Patrick. I'm a part of the product organization at Adobe, specifically the Adobe Marketing Cloud. As you might be aware, we have 3 clouds these days, the Document Cloud, the Creative Cloud, and the Marketing Cloud. But I figured it's been a long day. We're going to take a break after this, so maybe I'll put on a brief video and kind of get the juices flowing a little bit. Okay, yeah, fun video there, right? Saw a lot of interesting experiences that Adobe is involved in there. You saw Under Armour, the engagement in the store, being able to merchandise and interact with digital screens. You saw the Buffalo Bills, right? What they're doing with digital publishing and really moving from paper-based brochures and experiences to digital, to the oven, the Internet of Things, to the in-vehicle. A lot of this is where Adobe has been focused. And as I talked about, these are really the 3 major parts of Adobe: the Creative Cloud, which you all know very well with Photoshop, Illustrator, Lightroom, etc. The Document Cloud, and the Marketing Cloud that I'm a part of, which is really the most unified sort of solution for creating content and monetizing and measuring content. So what you saw in that video was a lot around digital, but it was, I think, more than digital marketing. We really view at Adobe, digital marketing is going well beyond marketing. It's really digital experiences. Every touch point, every engagement, every channel, we need to provide that experience. And the amount of data that is generated by all those activities is significant. And the disruption that causes has changed business models. It's created new ways of thinking for businesses. And we really see a lot of disruption in digital. Again, marketing beyond marketing. And we see a new wave emerging. For many of you might be familiar with the back office wave. This is going back about 40 years now, around the enterprise systems, business process, how to ensure that paper-based processes got digitized, how to ensure business process management or enterprise resource planning. That was really the focus 40 years ago. Then we saw the front office wave, the CRM solutions of the world, getting our sales contacts automated into a system that's kind of unified, and we're interacting on that side. And really what we see at Adobe is the experience business wave, really about driving engaging experiences. And what makes a great experience? Well, it needs to be very compelling. It needs to be emotional, drive that intrinsic sort of need to take action. It needs to be personal. It needs to be personalized. Anyone familiar with the Freestyle machine from Coca-Cola? This is something powered by Adobe Marketing Cloud, actually. And in many movie theaters, you can engage. You can have the mobile app. You can log in. You can go to a Coke machine and get your favorite blend automatically provided there. And if if you're interested in combining Diet Coke and root beer or whatever it is. But you have a personalized message there, and it's really connecting marketing with the physical world. So really beyond traditional marketing. Useful, you need to have utility. You need to provide something of value to your customer beyond on selling. And you need to be ubiquitous. It needs to be present in every channel and at every touch point. But it's not easy. And believe me, if it was, I probably wouldn't have a job. Many of you would not be here. But there's some e-consultancy research that talks about some of the key obstacles to success, and it really kind of hones in on the integration of the various touch points, whether it's an email system, whether it's display ads, whether it's the website. Being able to integrate all of those pieces together is one of the major challenges. And the data that generates, and being able to access that data in near real time becomes a big obstacle to success. The complexity that provides, and really the organizational structure. How do we reorganize our lives, our businesses, to kind of fit this more modern mold? Well, I'll give you a high-level blueprint and ideas and some anecdotes to think about addressing this. And it's not easy, and it's an ongoing journey, but I think it really does start with the data, and we'll talk a little bit about approaches to data. But content is key, right? Content is your brand, how you represent yourself to the world. You need to be able to streamline and optimize your content. Orchestration of the customer journey. You need to be able to deliver the experience in the right channel with consistency and optimize the experience. Really taking advantage of data science to learn and generate new experiences. So we'll go into each of these one by one. So great experiences are powered by data. The single view of the customer. Boy, we've been talking about this one for a long time. 360-degree view of the customer, single view of the customer. Everyone is saying it, but very few are actually able to take advantage of it. Over 80% of marketers out there today are trying to get that single view, at least of their marketing activity across their various applications. And only less than 20% are actually able to do that today, feel comfortable about doing that. So there's still a massive opportunity to be able to streamline data. And from Adobe's standpoint, we don't view that as needing to be able to dump all of your data in some kind of massive database and try to kind of mine that could really be tapping into your data wherever it sits, wherever it lies, and being able to take action upon that data as needed. So I'll go with the classic iceberg slide. Really above the waterline, you should be taking advantage of some of the tactics that you see here, whether it's having information around contacts of your potential customers, social and demographic information, email, preferences, structured data. But as you start to look below the waterline, there's a significant opportunity to take advantage of different types of data that might sit in various different systems and in various different ways. So looking at the history of interactions with your brand, the number of emails they've received, the offers they've clicked on, the different channels that they've engaged in, whether they've liked your brand on Facebook. Mobile data, being able to compute data, CRM data, which is valuable to bring in. But then we go to the lower levels of this iceberg here. Are you taking advantage of anonymous data and cookie-based data and trying to stitch that together with what you know about your customer? Is everyone out here familiar with data management platforms? Anyone? DMP? DMP is like the new black. No, this is a new opportunity for you to take advantage of for advertising, really being able to leverage first, second, and third-party data. First-party data being data that you can obtain on sites that you own, including PII, personally identifiable information like email and address, and things like that. Second-party data is data that your partners might possess. That could be like an airlines, in a financial services company type relationship. And third-party data is data that you can obviously acquire from third-party data providers. And so a data management platform can really allow you to combine these types of data together and share that data in responsible ways with marketing campaigns, direct marketing campaigns. Now, I will say, from Adobe's standpoint, we do not advocate for ever taking third-party data that you might buy, third-party cookie-based data that you might buy from a provider, and ever combining that with PII. We think that's a violation of customer trust at Adobe. And that's just akin to saying, I know the sites and the ads you were looking at, and I want to send you a direct email about that. And so you can see where that can get very sticky. So there's definitely some privacy things to take into account, but it's really about looking below the waterline and seeing the value that you could gain. Just think of a customer, Allianz, and I was talking with somebody earlier today who's from New York Life, and I think this is valid as well. Allianz, one of the largest financial services and insurance companies in the world, providing property and casualty and a number of other type of insurance products. They're leveraging the Adobe Marketing Cloud for a number of their regions across Europe, Munich in Germany, even in the United States. They're managing over 80 million transactional rows of data for their, this particularly is for their pet care insurance. And they've been able to streamline that down from what took them traditionally months to consolidate down to weeks and days by really kind of navigating around IT and being able to take on the transformation of that data, cleansing and sort of ETL process around that data to be able to deliver relevant experiences. Okay, second one, content. We're really big on content at Adobe, as you know very well. And I view this as kind of the perfect pair here. Content on its own is great, but I think it needs to have some intelligence. It needs to have context. Content is king. Context is queen. We think there's a lot of value in being able to provide data science to the content to be able to effectively target. And this is just kind of an illustration of how you might see that taking place. It's not about creating hundreds of versions of an email template or hundreds of pieces of content. It's really about having a single template or a single concept and a number of dynamic sort of blocks within that template, newsletter, email template, and being able to dynamically assemble the right creative for that individual profile. And that really can generate hundreds of thousands of potential opportunities for personalization, getting a lot closer to that one-to-one targeting concept. And I think of Yves Rocher. It's a French cosmetics provider we work with quite a bit. They're doing a lot of content, beautiful, high-touch content. They're streamlining their content, and they're very consistent. As a customer, you might receive a happy birthday email, and then you might go to the website and then log in, and you'll receive a very kind of consistent experience and offers based on what you may have seen. They're able to coordinate all the content across 6 different channels currently. Let's see if I can get this right. I think it's mobile app push, SMS, email, direct mail, web, and social, all working in concert. And you can imagine the nightmare that could create from a content standpoint. And they really have centralized their content and tagged and automated the decisioning behind their content to help deliver experiences like you see here. So just some benefits to being able to centralize your content. Of course, it's about not having to create hundreds and thousands of versions of emails or blocks of content or ads or creatives. It's about accelerating that content development process and unifying your assets to help you get more value. The third one is orchestration. This is really about, okay, we have a data foundation. We have great content. We need to be able to deliver that content to the right audiences. We need to be able to orchestrate and balance that activity and design the customer journey, but in a flexible way that based on the disposition, based on the clicks, on the offer, on the interest, being able to change that branch in that flow, in that journey, to point out a specific offer or specific experience. And those that can get this right, and this is a very difficult challenge, those that can take advantage of cross-channel campaign management see a significant increase in conversions, retention, and advocacy. This is a recent study from the e-consultancy. So what do we mean when we say cross-channel marketing? Here's my perspective on it, and you hear this a lot, but for us, this is really on the left-hand side, having a profile for every individual customer that you have, every prospect, and being able to collect more information about them over time. That might be through social sites, that might be through surveys, that might be through emails, that might be through preference centers. Being able to continuously capture information about the individual and then basically take that information, being able to segment and automate on that data, being able to orchestrate and deliver a message and report on that. And so what that can generate across the top to the right for the first consumer might be a direct mail piece that might have an offer that saying go to a landing page to sign up for an email campaign. The next might be a mobile app push in store with a follow-up to a landing page. The third stream might be an email campaign that drives to a landing page and a social, maybe it's a tweet to thank them for a purchase. The last might be a website experience that continues to the call center where you're able to then continue that conversation based on maybe a product being sold out. But that's the way we view orchestration in cross-channel marketing. And I'll use another French example. L'Occitane, you see this brand quite a bit in malls and in different places throughout the United States, even though it's a very international brand. They're very focused on the orchestration piece and driving an entire customer life cycle from when a customer is a prospect to when they're onboarding to sort of the activation and motivation to continue and thank them for purchasing to retention offers and loyalty and advocacy. So by being able to orchestrate the experience for them, they've been able to drive a 40% increase in email sales conversions, a 4% increase in direct mail, as well as some other benefits. But it's really about managing the customer journey in a flexible way and being able to orchestrate a number of different channels from one place. And that's quite disruptive for many organizations. The last I'll leave you with is data science and decisioning, optimize experiences. And here I think of context again. It's really about context. It's really about understanding, as one of the speakers said earlier, the day and the time and maybe the weather, and taking all those things into consideration when making a decision or maybe changing the story or changing the message, or if an offer is expired, how do we ensure that it's automatically refreshed even after an email is delivered? It's all about context, and in fact, the recent study we did showed that 77% of marketers find real-time personalization to be highly important, but the biggest obstacle to success for them, very similar to some of the earlier data, was around the complexity of the technology that existed, the barriers to being able to deliver that at scale. And interestingly, across the bottom are the channels that marketers see as important for real time. And I'm not sure about you, but when I see email there on the left, it's a little surprising. I don't typically think of email when you talk about real time, but there are a lot of opportunities to optimize email, whether it's, again, changing the content after an email is already delivered, and based on the weather, maybe changing the imagery and the offer, and then at the point they open, it changes, and maybe they open the email later and it changes again. There's a lot of opportunity there. Something else could be predictive subject lines, being able to use data science and predictive analytics to change the words or recommend different phrases in a subject line of an email based on the previous performance of words and open rates, because you kind of live or die by the open rate. Another way to think about this could be optimizing the number of sends to an audience, being able to understand what is the right amount of sends to a specific segment or individual before really reaching that red zone, before really getting into more fatigue status. So there's a lot of data science that can go behind email and real-time personalization. And don't fear the algorithms. I think this is one of the big obstacles for marketers today, is to try to get past whether it's machine learning, and it's just a terrible phrase. It sounds so industrial, but machine learning or self-learning or adaptive analytics, predictive analytics. There's a lot of value that can be generated there, and it's not about completely removing control or handing your keys over to the black box and having everything really run. That's really not, I think, where we are. I think there's a lot of value in being able to take advantage of decisioning. We talked about a few different examples earlier around emails that might have dynamic content inserted into them, and that could be an automated process. It doesn't have to be something that you try to define, but you could define parts of it, and you could give feedback to different aspects. So machine learning can really generate a lot more value in automation. One example I'll give, I'm sticking on the French theme. I'm going to just keep going. La Fourchette. This is the open table of Western Europe. They were recently acquired by Travelocity, I think. But it's similar to Open Table. Anybody here use Open Table? Okay, maybe some of you will use it tonight. Being able to look on their site for different restaurants in the area, decide what you're interested in. But if you decide to abandon the session, then what they'll do is they'll send you an automated email within a few hours, right around dinner time, with the recommendations on the restaurants that you viewed in the past, and recommending those in specific offers embedded as well. So that's an example, actually, of an experience that you can receive that has a lot of machine learning and data science behind it, but it doesn't really feel like that. It's really a seamless thing that a lot of us experience every day. So as I mentioned early on, this is a difficult thing. We're all trying to figure this digital marketing thing out, and we're seeing a lot of changes. We're seeing the move to Internet of Things. We're seeing experience-driven marketing. Some interesting data points, actually. We spend almost 500 minutes a day consuming online media. We spend over 6 hours a day reading email. That's broken down between the home and the workplace. And this is some research we did. 73% of us use a mobile device, smartphone, for our email. But on average, all of us have 4+ devices that we leverage to consume media. So there's a lot of complexity there that we're trying to manage. So again, it's not easy, and we're focused on that big time at Adobe, and it's an ongoing thing. It's about the experience. It's about going beyond marketing, to be honest, to generate these moments. But to learn more and see how you stack up with your peers, we do have tools that can help. You can go to adobemarketingscore.com, and that is a site for you to kind of evaluate yourself and your organization amongst your peers, and you can choose your industry on things like analytics, things like on machine learning and targeting, things like social, email and cross-channel marketing, analytics, a number of different areas, and really takes, 10 or 15 minutes to go through, and you get an automated report, and you can compare your results. So it's something that's a great way to kind of get started, and we're happy to help you as well on that journey. So to kind of recap, as we talked about the 4 areas of a blueprint for success, I would start with data. Obviously, data is your foundation, something you hear a lot, but that single view of the customer doesn't have to all be in a single place. I think it can be accessed from multiple different sites and sources, and you just need to kind of think of ways to make that more seamless for you and generate value, and continuously capture insights. Continue to learn, continue to bring in more information and try to add that to the profile of the customer. That's extremely valuable through surveys, through social, through preference centers. Saying a preference center for those that aren't as email-centric is, well, I don't want to opt out, unsubscribe to this email. I just only want to receive it on Wednesdays, or I only want to receive emails that have to do with skis and nothing else, right? So there's a lot of value there in determining that. Tap into authenticated and anonymous insights. There's a lot of value that browsing behavior might provide from your website that you could append to maybe an email campaign and use that to help you better segment and target your audiences. Content is your brand. Content is extremely important. Think of ways to automate content. Look into tools that can help you tag and centralize and accelerate your content velocity. Orchestrate and deliver. Design the customer journey, but be flexible. Ensure that you have a lot of different channels in alignment and are consistent. Don't forget about offline. I know we talk a lot about digital experiences and digital marketing, but we know direct mail, we know call center, we know ATM, we know kiosk are all part of this story of the customer journey. And optimize and learn. Really focus on A/B, multivariate testing. I talked a little bit about predictive and self-learning. Try different approaches with algorithms that are trying to automate maybe testing of subject lines, things like that, and see how that works through your business. But these are just a few ideas to kind of get you started. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have afterwards. But I know there's a break coming up, so thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a great event. Thanks.